September 30th, 2016. Guys, Matthew's becoming a monster out there. It's now at 140 miles an hour in a Category 4. This was at the 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time advisory. You've got 949 millibars on your barometric pressure. It's still moving south-southwest. It hasn't made that north turn yet. It's not far from encountering a narrow band of air that's moving north. And then if it makes it through that section, it's going to be back into air that's moving west. I'll show you that on the wind direction. Notice how the spaghetti models have changed. Now the white BAMD has come inland into South Florida instead of being offshore as it was earlier. That's where the eye will track. Notice it's a 4 down in right there, guys. Notice how big that was. If the eye tracks, like I was concerned about this morning coming into the southern part of Florida, this is no longer something you're going to say, well, we're going to have a hurricane party about it, or we're tough, we stay we take these. You won't take this one in South Florida if it comes in on the south tip like that. You won't come out unscathed, let's put it that way. And you'll never do it again, I promise you. So, guys, go ahead, make preparations to leave, find places to stay inland before everything's booked up, find friends or relatives, get plenty of fuel, plenty of water, make sure everything's ready to go, and you could come back if you're in the southern part of Florida. We're talking about the Keys, the Tortugas, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton. Guys, you know where I'm talking about, the Northwest Quadrant. Don't stay. You could have bridges out or underwater that connect the Keys to South Florida. Many of you know it. I don't have to tell you that, but I was concerned with some of the comments in this morning's video when it was a Cat 3. Oh, we can handle a storm like this. Guys, maybe Orlando, Tampa, something like that, maybe, but not South Florida. First of all, you're much lower and you won't have anything to slow this storm down. Now, I'm thinking that this will become a Cat 5 before it crosses Cuba, and I'll show you why on the sea surface temperature charts before the end of the video, because it's not in the warmest water it's going to encounter, but it is growing so fast at this point that it's almost scary to think about. Over 4,000 days since anything like this came close to the United States. That's a long time. It's a year for records. So don't think we can't have a few more. But right here, it's going to come across this jet stream that's pushing north, and they think that's going to be part of the steering current. But it still has a way to go before it crosses Cuba. Now notice once it crosses that steering current, even here with your jet stream and your wind direction, right here you have that. It's kind of a narrow alley of where everything's moving north. How will it affect it if this storm is so powerful that it creates its own path? If that's not enough steering current right there in front of it to push it up and north, then it's going to come further south, come off the tip of Cuba and coming to the Gulf, and you've got another Katrina, Camille, or Ivan on your hands. Either way, with these models coming this close to the southern tip of Florida, guys, do not play with this storm anymore. Get your family back out into the Atlantic, and you've had a vacation for a few days. Do not get trapped down here. I've been trapped in 120 mile an hour winds, and it's not fun. This thing's at 140 now. Now, if it goes to a Cat 5 before it crosses Cuba, then more than likely it will go back to a Cat 4 because of the mountains on that island. It will strip down some of the pressure, but it's going to be jumping right back into warm waters. And once you become a Cat 5, guys, it's got a forward thrust, and you've got wave motion and water motion that's so far out in front of a Cat 5 that even as it's dropping to a Cat 4, that outward pressure is still there. Everybody on the coast that's been through these super storms know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, the pink water is the hottest. The green dot is where the storm is. Check this out. That's Cat 5 plus written all over it. And they've predicted it coming right over the island of, right there over Cuba, coming up into South Florida. Now, some of these wave patterns and some of this wind direction concerns me about it coming into the Gulf. Regardless, wherever it goes, this is one of Mother Nature's most destructive forces known. If you guys that just moved to Florida in the last 10 years, you've never been through one of these storms, you don't want to be. People lose everything they have. They lose their lives. People will be hauled out in body bags wherever this thing hits. And people in Cuba, the islands, Jamaica, Bahamas, you might want to get out of there if you have an option. At least get to higher ground if you're on the islands. We're watching it, guys. We'll update it every time they put an update now up from the National Weather Service or the National Hurricane Center. This is a heads up. Be safe.